There we go. And then
We're back.
Hopefully.
You think we're back?
Yeah, we're back.
We are?
I think so.
Interesting.
Yeah. 2 weeks in a row. Let's see how long this can go.
I mean, we almost didn't have it.
I mean, thanks to you. Is that what you wanted me to say?
No, I mean, like, we almost didn't have it. Like, just.
I mean, we don't know how technology works, man.
I mean, this kind of ain't our fault. We're still, ever since the changeover.
We're growing.
Yeah.
We're learning how all this works. Welcome to another edition of Press Play. I'm Michael.
I'm Leroy.
We're the News 19 Nerds, back with you again in person. I'm in person. Leroy's in person. You can eat those fries, or you just gonna let them go now?
Well, I was gonna save them for Katie, but if you don't, you can have them.
No, they're yours. You're just letting them be cold.
Oh, she likes cold food.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it bothers. When I tell you it bothers me,
yeah,
it bothers me.
Okay, cool.
Like, you remember the show Cold Pizza on ESPN?
Yeah.
So that's a real thing.
Yeah. I like cold pizza.
I cannot do that.
Yeah, I know.
Like, cold food bothers me.
Great. But we're not talking about...
It's offensive.
We're not talking about cold pizza tonight. We're talking about some directors and whether or not they have too much power in Hollywood. And we're also talking about the future of the MCU.
Yep.
What's next?
Yep.
So where you want to start?
Well, one, I want to get this chat up so we can see who's with us.
I mean, slowly people are... Oh, yeah, you might have to do the... No, not
nope.
that.
That wasn't it.
Yeah, you do that, and then you do... No? Well,
there we go.
There you go. Cool.
I knew it was something.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, DC's that Wolverine. We'll get to that a little bit later. We'll talk with the future of MCU now that the 2021 has happened to us. Mm-hmm. We're still experiencing it.
Yeah.
We got nothing from Marvel last year, and then they just unleashed and just dropped a bomb on us this year.
Did we get nothing from Marvel last year?
Nothing.
Interesting. Okay.
Because Black Widow was supposed to start it off.
Right.
And then that cascaded everything.
Okay.
And everything got pushed back to 2021. And then we got everything from 2021 and 2020.
Okay.
So let's start with big news. And the reason why this is big news is because I think this is going to this is the beginning and how this is going to shape the landscape going forward with directors, especially directors, stars, and people who own their own company, how they're going to start aligning themselves based on studios, based on streaming services, based on still has a model for theatrical release. Deadline reported earlier this week, they were the one who broke the news that Universal has landed Christopher Nolan in his Syncope production company.
Isn't it Syncope?
Huh?
Isn't it Syncope?
Is it? I don't know.
I believe it's Syncope.
Okay, I'll go with that.
Like the word Syncope. But
Syncope?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't know.
I never heard anybody say Syncope before. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. It don't matter.
You know how you say words in your head and you never say them out loud?
Yeah.
That's one of them. I always say, in my head, I've always said Syncope. Okay. Syncope. Okay. So they were the ones who broke the news. There were rumors to being reported that Christopher Nolan was shopping his movie about Robert Oppenheimer, a biography, to different studios, and people speculated he might have been leaving. They know he was unhappy at Warner Brothers ever since his dispute over Tenet, and people were... Go ahead.
Well, no. My question is, what was his dispute over Tenet? Because Tenet came out in theaters like you wanted.
Warner Brothers was not initially going to release Tenet. Remember, they kept moving it.
Oh, okay.
And then Christopher Nolan was of the belief that if I drop my movie, I can usher in people going back to the movie theater.
That did not happen.
And Warner Brothers was like, hey, we want to make money off of this because we think this is a good movie. Mm-hmm. There's a global pandemic. Maybe let's wait.
Yeah. And
Christopher Nolan, I don't know what his accent is, but he was like...
Have we talked about the fact that he has an accent and his brother doesn't?
Yes, you have brought that up. Because
weird.
We talked about it when we talked about transference.
Okay.
And Christopher Nolan believed that he could save movie theaters and he would save the industry, and this would be one of the reasons why.
Sure. And
they released it according to Indie Film. Rebecca Rubin and Brett Lang, they say that Warner Brothers eventually supported the film's fall release, but Tenet became a box office disappointment and lost the studio at least for $50 million. I believe if you go to Box Office Mojo, the movie made $400 million globally, which is great considering the caveats.
Sure.
Nolan was still incensed. Mm-hmm. Then January came, and we know what happened. No,
it was January. It might have been like
December, right before
the end of the year.
End of the year.
Yeah.
November.
Maybe.
October, November, because that when the announcement from Warner Brothers came.
Wonder Woman 84 is going to be day and date. Yeah.
And he lost it, and the reporting is ever since then he was done with Warner Brothers, and so now he's at Universal.
Yeah. So I am of two minds. I think a director or a creative person kind of deserves to have their own artistic freedom and be able to create whatever work of art is going to be, whether it's musician or whatever, as long as it's not infringing on somebody else. At the same time, I do think having restrictions in place can create creativity, and I think sometimes you need people to tell you no. We talked about this before.
Cats. No one said no in that movie.
Have you seen it?
No.
I saw it. It's wild.
I know. You told me about it.
Yeah. But like we talked about this before when Death Stranding came out. Hideo Kojima got to do whatever he wanted, and he made a game. It's something.
I'm gonna tell you.
I don't even hate it. It's something.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
I know you like it.
I do.
Yeah.
It really like they need to make a documentary about that game. They really do. Kind of like in the vein of God of War.
Oh yeah, that one was good.
They need to do it. Talk about like when it was, how they thought it up, because there's different interviews about the game. But we're getting sidetracked. I liked the game. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. It is tedious. I think they took and fixed some things in the director's cut. I said I would never go back to it. Once I played it, I was done. I'm gonna be honest with you.
You picking the director's cut?
I may get the director's cut.
Okay.
But with that being said, I'm of the mindset that as a creative, you need.
What's up, David Cooper?
What is
David Cooper coming for you.
Oh.
He said, "Hey, I'm Mike Owen, the other guy."
He's just a hater. He just don't want me to be great. I'm coming for you, David Cooper.
Yeah.
No, I'm of the mindset that creatives have to have has to have an editor, and that's.
And this isn't go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'm just. I that's where I stand.
For me, we could always go back to George Lucas. Episode 4, 5, and 6 were great.
Ooh. But he didn't have final say.
Yeah, what I'm saying. And then he got carte blanche with 1, 2, and 3.
Yep.
And
they did this. Gave him a blank.
Yeah, I mean, and say what you want to about those movies. They're not for me. They're definitely for a younger audience. Friend of the show, Philip, has always told us he used to work here.
Krieger!
Yeah, he said he enjoyed those because those were for him when they were growing up.
But remember, that was his introduction.
Right. But to me, holistically looking at all of them, it's like maybe you should have had some type of person to be like, nah, let's rein this in. So, I mean, having people to tell you no isn't a bad thing.
No, and we... So, you know what? To explain to people what your job is in Charlotte, as far as like dealing with reporters.
Man, I'm trying to figure out my job in Charlotte. I've only been there 2 months.
Okay, explain your job here when you were dealing with reporters.
No, it's the same thing. It's a bigger scale. I'm messing. Essentially, my role as an EP is to help whoever is actually producing a particular show, whether it's a 6 or 11 or whatever, and not to take the show over, but to maybe say, hey, let's move these stories here. Let's work on how we're going to showcase the show so that it makes sense when we give it to the audience.
True, and
then also with reporters.
That's the show. I'm talking about like reporters when they bring you a script and they say, Michael, read my script.
Oh, you mean like in terms of like a copy editor?
Yes.
Okay. So as an EP, my role as a copy editor can be for reporters is kind of helping them come up with ideas for a particular story, figuring out what the sources are going to be. They come and write a script, and then I'll go over and say, hey, the sentences you're making or your sentence structure doesn't make sense here, or maybe move this around, move these sound bites around. Can you find other sources? I'm essentially just trying to help them make their script better.
Yes.
Yes.
And so I'm of two mindsets when it comes to this deal. Mm-hmm. I'm happy for Christopher Nolan to be able to be in an environment that he feels comfortable in to make his movies. I also think he's being a jackass right now. Because I I understand him leaving, going, and Christopher Nolan, friend of the show.
Anytime you want to come on, man.
The only reason why I say he's being a jackass, and I think a lot of these directors are being this way, because I don't think they understand the gravity that we're in the middle of a pandemic. Him and Denny and all the rest of them are of this mindset.
You call him Denny? You guys are just on the first name basis?
Me and Denny.
Okay, cool.
I mean, he's making one of my favorite all-time stories come to life.
Sure.
But Denny and the rest of these directors have this mindset that they are these great auteurs, which they are.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't negate your creativity. Does not negate science, facts, and a pandemic.
Sure.
You releasing Tenet and being mad that the studio was trying to be smart, you just look like a child.
Yeah.
Because you released a movie globally in the middle of a pandemic. You still made $400 million.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no vaccine at the time. Mm-hmm. This was released in September, remember?
Yeah, I went to theaters to see it.
We both did,
yeah.
And we reviewed it. Shameless plug. Go check
it out on our channel. Yeah.
And I enjoyed Tenet.
Mm-hmm.
But we both saw it in a theater that was pretty much empty.
Mm-hmm.
But go into a crowded movie theater in the middle of a pandemic with a deadly virus and with no vaccine is literally taking your life in your own hand.
Yeah.
And I don't understand the mindset of these people. And someone just said it, I think it was David Cooper said it, don't understand or don't care. I honestly don't know, because these people live in a bubble amongst themselves where I don't think they understand every person doesn't have access to a private theater.
D. Cecil says George had final say in 5 and 6, not 4. Okay, cool.
I love what Rayshawn K said. You can say the same thing about Lord of the Rings and then The Hobbit. That's perfectly true.
Sure.
Lord of the Rings had editorial control. Peter Jackson did whatever the hell he wanted in Hobbit.
I mean, I ain't trying to bring that up, but also they made like a bunch of movies out of one book. There was too much.
It honestly should have been 2 movies.
Yeah, there didn't need to be so many movies for the.
It didn't need to be a trilogy.
Yeah. But what were we talking
about? We were talking about basically releasing a movie in the middle of a pandemic, and then you were about to say something about Christopher Nolan and his deal.
Oh, do you know the specifics of the deal? Because I've seen it in some place. I don't know if that report says like what he wanted in his contract.
So basically, the contract that he shopped around to. So everybody was in the mix from Sony, Universal. Apple TV was in the mix. Mm-hmm. The studio that was not in the mix, from what I understand, was Warner Brothers. And from what I understand, according to this, sources familiar with the negotiations say Nolan asked for, though it's unclear if he will receive, an exclusive theatrical window between 90 to 120 days. The film will likely stay on the big screen for a longer period than 45 days. I've been told, I've read different things, but it hasn't been confirmed yet. 100 days.
Yeah.
He'll get a 100-day window. He will also have final cut and 20% of the gross.
Yes. And I saw another thing that said whenever Universal releases that movie, they can't release another movie within 3 weeks. So either way, or one way or the other.
Here it is. It's called a blackout period. Because of the cinematic pedigree and near consistent box office success, those who have worked with Nolan before test his contracts are more exciting than his peers. In his individual film arrangement with Warner Brothers, Nolan has required a 3-week blackout period on the release calendar, meaning the studio wasn't able to premiere a movie 3 weeks before or 3 weeks after one of the director's films is scheduled to open.
Yeah.
Which would essentially say you are locked into
6 weeks.
6 weeks, with that being the only film you are allowed to release. Mm-hmm. Now, Universal ain't got much. As far as
Universal is Fast and Furious, right?
Yep. Okay. When you think of what Universal has versus Warner Bros.
Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't have as much. As a matter of fact, here's the slate for 2022 and 2023. Universal's movie schedule. Mm-hmm. So they're going to have to fit whatever this Nolan movie is in the middle of
All this other stuff.
All this other stuff. I'm trying to so we're looking at it: Legally Blonde 3, Jurassic World, Minions, Puss in Boots, Halloween Ends, whatever M. Night Shyamalan has, the new Exorcist movie, and whatever Fast and Furious goes to Tatooine.
You brought that?
Because they have a hyperdrive.
Okay.
And
all right. Cool.
They meet up with Han Solo to take down Kylo Ren.
They already have a Han.
They don't have the Han.
They have a Han Solo.
They don't have the Han. They have a Han. They don't have the Han.
Okay.
So this movie's probably going to fall in between The Force Awakens and Jedi, but that's where Nolan is going to be at. They're going to have to find a way to sandwich his movie, and then all those movie dates get pushed, which then leaves an opening for everybody else to say, we got them for 6 weeks tied to this.
Sure.
Hit them with everything we got.
Yeah. I am hopeful that the movie will be good and the audio will be good.
Well, it's a biography. It's $100 million, the budget. So I think this will be a smaller movie compared to his other movies.
Sure.
But I don't know. My problem with this is twofold. One, I fault Nolan and Warner Brothers for different things. Nolan for being a little unreasonable. But then I fault Warner Brothers because you screwed yourself, Warner Brothers, because you did not do due diligence to talk to your people, your partners, because this was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
The deal of day and date is what pissed everybody off. And that's where my problem with Warner Brothers is. I get it. You made a decision that was that was a smart decision. It's movie theaters are not able to sustain right now.
Sure.
Let's keep people home. We have these streaming services. You made a business decision. You did not talk to your people to make sure they were okay with the business decision.
Yeah, true, but at the same time, like, they have that prerogative.
True. And now look at you.
Right.
And like your mama said, now look at you. Now look where you at.
You're right. So I mean, for me, I wonder if this is going to change. Do you think we're ever going to go back to movie theaters being filled? Is that ever happening?
Yeah.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we will. The problem is now you're going to have people who have to take into account not only your movie studio, but what you're tied to as far as streaming and what you're tied to as far as release when it comes to digital, physical, all of those things that I think many stars, many directors never thought about. Think about it like this. When Netflix first came onto the scene, no one thought about, they only thought about syndication. No one thought about every time your show or movie streams, you're not getting paid for that.
Right.
This was part of the reason why the writer's strike happened years ago.
Right, when everything went to streaming and stuff, people weren't getting the residuals and all that stuff.
Not only that, we found out through agents and through producers, people were getting shafted and shows were getting canceled because they didn't want to pay X amount of dollars, or they were telling people, oh, it didn't get this. Netflix still has not released streaming numbers unless they want to beef up something.
Right.
Disney Plus is the same way. Same thing with HBO Max. And guess who's now beefing with Disney Plus?
Who?
Scarlett Johansson.
No, I thought she was just beefing with Disney.
She's beefing. You're correct. She's beefing with Disney over the release of her movie on Disney Plus.
Okay.
And subsequently, who's now having the Russo brothers?
Right.
All of this is tied together in this quagmire of streaming rights, theatrical windows, and these are things people are going to have to figure out. Because this is now the new normal. When you release a movie or you make a movie, you got to think about where is it going to go. Universal has Peacock. Peacock will be the home of whatever this Oppenheimer movie is.
Yeah. Rayshawn K, when we were talking about Netflix, Rayshawn K brings up Netflix is always in debt and the movie studios are always making money off of movie theaters. Yeah, it's interesting that I still don't know how Netflix does it, but I was checking out their stock price today and it was close to $600, which is wild. I guess people are just forecasting they're going to continue to grow or whatever, but they continue.
They took a loss this year.
They're growing their fan base or growing their audience, but it's at a slower amount than it was in the years past.
They actually took a loss. They actually lost subscribers. This is the first time this year they actually lost subscribers.
Okay.
Yeah. We reported that. You would know that. You weren't here. You were off doing other things, being better than us. Anyway.
Okay, cool.
Took that personally.
All right.
But yeah, so as Netflix is showing a decrease in subscribers, other streaming services are seeing an increase. And we are also seeing that through this deal that Nolan has struck, you're going to start seeing this through other directors. Villeneuve, Denny, as I call him, we talk, pillow talk late at night, as he's like, Harkonnens, and I'm like, Paul Atreides.
What weird pillow talk you two have?
Hey, don't worry about
The
that.
spice. I was talking about
the spice will go.
Yes.
He has not been happy with this whole Warner Brothers day and date thing, and I don't know why.
Do you think he's going to be the next person to leave?
I don't know, because this is the question: how is day and date going to affect Dune's box office and release strategy? Because they've only done one.
Right.
Now they have shows in the works. He wants He wants another sequel. He wants the focus to move from Paul Atreides to Zendaya's character. How is this going
and Paul Atreides is Timothée Chalamet's character?
Yes.
Okay.
So how is this going to affect going forward? Subsequent sequels.
When is that movie supposed to come out?
October the 22nd.
Okay.
So that this deal, if I'm Denny, or if I'm Jordan Peele, I'm Misha Green, because we've seen this already with Scorsese. We've seen this with a lot of other directors. We saw this with Steven Spielberg, partnering with Apple. He got what? He do what?
It's going to be interesting to see if it's a domino effect of other directors doing the same thing. And you brought up a question. We were talking before about like what other directors could get away with kind of writing their own checks and making these type of deals. And did you come up with people in your mind, or were they the ones you just said?
I mean, think about it. Right now, who is some of your hottest upcoming directors? We know Jordan Peele has Monkey Paw. He's been doing every one of his movies box office because his budget is low, and it's easy when your budget is $20 to $40 million. You make $100 million that first opening weekend. You've already made everything back.
He hasn't done anything besides horror stuff so far, right?
More psychological thriller kind of stuff.
I'd like to see him do something else. I mean, I guess if he likes horror, do what you like. So,
what I would like to see, but let's take. So you've got him, you've got Neil Blomkamp. I'm looking at
what's he working on now?
So he has his own Oat Studio and his own thing. He did a horror movie recently.
Okay.
I think it was called Demonic.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember.
I feel like that didn't do well, and I only say that because I don't remember reading a headline that said this did well and made a lot of money. Considering it was a horror movie, probably had a lower box office.
And so that is what helps Nolan right now. Nolan, David Cooper brings up the problem with difference with Denny is he doesn't have the income record. His movies have not done as well at the box office.
They're critically acclaimed.
They're critically acclaimed. Yeah. I love them. But David Cooper's right. He doesn't have the box office that, say, Nolan has, because Nolan... Nolan has...
Sure.
So...
Side note, I was watching the original Batman today. What a fun movie.
Which one? 89?
Sorry, good point. The 89 Batman.
Okay, yeah.
What a fun movie. And shout out to a friend of the show, Nick Jones. I was looking at the fashion, I really want that Joker henchman jacket. The Joker henchman jacket was hot.
This town needs enema.
Yeah. what a fun movie.
But I mean, when you look at Christopher Nolan's resume, not only did Nolan, so he has theatrical hits, he has critical hits. He also basically oversaw, and he's the reason why the DCU is the way it is right now, because he's the one who was the executive producer who brought in or who helped shape what Zack Snyder was doing.
I wonder how much of that he really did, though.
I don't know, but
because
but his name was all over it.
Sure, yeah, but like because you can have somebody that's a producer and like an executive producer, and you just sign your name to give your support, but you don't really do anything.
But I mean, but this is the thing. He had to have done something because his name is on it, and some of the same people he worked with that were on the Batman trilogy, David S. Goyer. Mm-hmm. We saw those same names in Man of Steel and Justice League. Mm-hmm. So he had some hand in it.
Sure.
But that's the difference between some of these other directors. The reason why I bring up Jordan Peele, because he does make money at the box office.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg is another one who makes money at the box office. His last couple of movies may not have been the greatest.
You gonna go see West Side Story? Is Katie gonna drag you to see that?
Really?
I don't know if that's a yes or a no.
Unless she plans to give me another kid, no. You really think I'm going to the movie theater to see West Side Story?
I don't know. I was just asking. I'm curious.
Sir, I told you what movies I'm willing to risk my life over. West Side Story is not. There's not one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
And Top Gun.
Okay.
I'm willing to take that chance, y'all.
Top Gun and Top Gun and Dune. Okay.
Top Gun and Dune.
Okay. Cool. Just asking.
Maybe Eternals. I don't know yet. I gotta see what the infection.
I mean, yeah, you don't have no choice if you want to. I guess you want to wait 90 days.
I'm just saying I gotta see what the infection rate is.
Yeah.
But no. In all seriousness, David Cooper is right. You have to look at a director at his box office, and Brian Porter, you may like Fincher's catalog over Nolan, but Nolan makes more money than Fincher. And that's what studios are looking at. Nolan, and I can attest to this because we've argued over whether or not his movies are good. Nolan has a cadre of fans who are rabid.
Sure.
And will go to the movie theaters to see him, to see his movies.
Except for Tenet. Y'all didn't show up and show out.
I think we're the only ones who did.
Not enough of y'all showed up and showed out.
I think some of them died.
Oh. That's sad because it might be true.
I mean, honestly, I think, 1 million people worldwide died.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to be flippant, but these numbers of people who are passing has to be accounted in the fact of people have died, people are scared. They're not going to the movie theater to see your masterpiece.
Sure.
I'm sorry. I love Christopher Nolan. My wife is she's like, I love the name Nolan, and she put it on the list of names for our child.
Oh.
And she was like, you don't want Nolan? I was like, no, because if he says something stupid, I'm going to be mad.
That's not what Nolan would say. Nolan would say that. Don't you say those words.
Don't you do that to me.
Yeah.
I used to love you.
Oh, man.
But that's where I'm coming from. So that's what I think what people have to understand who are on the creative side when they have these, I don't think this is right. And it's like, people are scared, man. People don't want to go to the movie theaters. That's not on the list of things that they want to do.
Yeah.
So dial it back. That's just how I look at it. That's how I feel about it.
Okay. Next topic?
Yeah, let's take that up.
The future of the MCU.
Here you go.
So we started talking about this because Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
I can't get the CHI.
You got the Shang part. A lot of people keep saying Shang who've seen the movie.
It is what it is. But Shang-Chi did well, continues to do well. It's number one at the box office. Granted, it doesn't have a lot of competition. Not a lot of stuff is coming out, but it's been number one for the past 2 weeks. It'll probably be number one this week, I would assume.
100. I think it's totaled 150 million.
Oh, it's past that. What you mean, just U.S.?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I think worldwide it's already 270 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I just know they made 90 or 75 the first.
Yeah.
That first week, and then subsequently, yeah.
So that kind of got us talking about Marvel, or Disney has since said, based on the success of Shang-Chi, Eternals will be in theaters first before it comes to Disney Plus.
Scarlett Johansson also had a hand in that.
Probably, yeah. They probably need to rewrite.
Because I'm telling you right now, you can F with Scarlett Johansson. Play if you want to coming after Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
That's a woman I don't want to fight.
So here's a release date of different movies and shows coming out. Eternals, November 5th, 2021. Spider-Man No Way Home.
Ooh. Kim from Chicago. Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Spider-Man No Way Home with Sony also having a hand in that. December 17th. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, March 25th, 2022. Thor Love and Thunder, May 6th. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, July 8th. The Marvels, which is essentially Captain Marvel 2, is November 11th, 2022. Then we move to 2023, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
And then a bunch of unnamed movies.
Yeah, and Fantastic Four is somewhere coming.
Yeah, because we
also got a Blade movie.
Yes, and so, but that's not. It's not listed, so it's probably one of the 4 unlisted Marvel movies.
In terms of TV shows, we have What If finishes up pretty soon. Will there 2 more episodes left, maybe? I don't know. What If? The next show is going to be Hawkeye, which starts November 24th. Miss Marvel, which we haven't seen a trailer for yet.
But we still got 3 months left in the...
Sure.
And so...
It's supposed to be 2021. I wonder if they're going to do that or not. Because...
Here's the thing.
If Hawkeye comes out November 24th, they don't really do 2 Marvel shows at the same time.
No.
Well, at least they haven't done it yet.
No, but 6 episodes. They have done 2 episodes in a week. And so you could easily do... So what you got? Thanksgiving weekend for first episode of Hawkeye. Is there another weekend Thanksgiving? So that's 2.
I don't think so.
So you've basically got 5 weeks. 2021. I think we'll get a trailer by then.
Oh, sure. You also have a Moon Knight show, She-Hulk, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Armor Wars, and Untitled Wakanda series. So we have all this out there, and we're trying to figure out what does the future of the MCU look like. Is it healthy? Is it strong? Is it floundering? Do we think they're in a good position?
The state of the MCU union is strong.
Yeah. I mean, people...
President Feige is here to tell us.
So we've talked about a little bit, and we'll do an overall series wrap on What If once the show is over. What are you thinking of What If so far?
I don't understand the hate that it's getting. There's some people who are saying it's boring. They're not a real big fan of it. I've enjoyed it. I've liked some episodes more than others. I think it's a testament that you've been able to get marquee A-list talent to come back and do voiceover work.
I think this show proves how difficult voice acting is. Because a lot of people who look great on screen sound horrible when they're voicing these characters. Sebastian Stan sounds horrible.
Really?
I was like, oh, you don't sound good at all.
Okay.
And there's some other people too that don't sound great as voice actors. But that's just me. I really liked Lake Bell as Black Widow in that one episode. I liked her doing the voice of Black Widow.
She might be Black Widow coming from this.
Maybe, who knows, right? Yeah, it's interesting because this is probably the first show that people are like, I'm not really on board. I feel like people were I think the general consensus for WandaVision was people liked it overall. Same thing for Loki and same thing for Falcon and Winter Falcon, if you want to call it. But this one definitely seems to be more 50-50, or at least more people are voicing their displeasure with it.
I'm here to say that the state of the MCU union is strong. Somebody said Phase 4 is a slow rebuild. Yes,
I can see that.
Phase 4 is a slow rebuild because I think they're going in a different direction. This is what I believe. Phase 4 is building towards the Young Avengers. We have seen just about most of them.
Give us a roll call. Who have we seen?
So we're going to get Kate Bishop. We've seen Patriot, who is the grandson of
Isaiah
Bradley. We have seen Ant-Man's daughter, who is Cassie. So that's 3. We've seen Wanda and Vision's twins. So that's 5. We've seen Sylvie, who could also be a Young Avengers. We also
she old,
huh?
She old.
We don't know how old she is.
That's a grown woman.
I don't think so.
What?
I don't think Sylvie's grown like you think she is. I think Sylvie is still in that young range.
Interesting.
So you got Sylvie. You've got eventually Vision's going to come back. The question is, does he build Viv? Does he build his own family like we saw in the Vision miniseries? And Marvel's or one of the shows, we saw a young Asian actor cast, which a lot of people think will be Amadeus Cho. We've seen Amadeus Cho's mom in Age of Ultron, who built the cradle for Ultron. David Cooper brings up another one. We see Kid Loki. So we've seen enough of them that we could put together. We've seen Shuri, and we're getting Ironheart. So we're getting Riri.
And we got Miss Marvel.
And we got Miss Marvel coming. So we've got enough to form a large Young Avengers team. On top of that, we're starting to see, and I want to say Ken from Chicago brought it up, we're starting to see a Dark Avengers team being built. Spoiler alert, Yelena Belova was being recruited by Valentina. We've seen U.S. Patriot. We're starting to see, we did not see Valentina recruit her, but we still have Ghost running around from Ant-Man and the Wasp. We know that they are building up to something.
Sure.
We still haven't gotten the mutants. Fantastic Four is still a long way off. I think we are building towards this cosmic universe that they set with the Avengers, and they're going forward. I really think Feige knows what he's doing. He has given us no reason to doubt him before.
I've said on this podcast, or whatever we want to call this, we should make this a podcast. We should put it up on your lipstick thing.
We have one.
That's what I'm saying. You should put it out there. But anyway, no, we've said it on this show at least that I don't think Marvel has not had a commercial bomb yet. They've had movies that haven't performed as well, but they've all been profitable. And even the movies that people don't like people didn't like maybe the first two Thors. People love Thor now.
Yeah.
People really didn't like the first Hulk movie that was made by Universal, but people do like Mark Ruffalo's Hulk and what he's done so far. So, I mean, they've kind of rebuilt the ship on anything that people weren't 100%
People didn't
on.
like Iron Man 2 and 3.
Right. So, I mean, all those characters, they built them back up in their trust. Do you think it's a thing that, much like comic books, you have this big event, and then, you have to do the rebuilding process of building up to another event? I say that to say, is America or the new MCU audience, have we not developed that vocabulary to realize, they have to rebuild again?
I think what Marvel is doing is sowing the seeds. So here's what I think Marvel has figured out that other companies have not. Regardless of how you feel about the stories and how you feel about where they're going, essentially Disney is a company that is trying to make money.
Sure.
Marvel is a company that's trying to make money. They're trying to sell you something. Whether it's a movie, whether it's a comic book, whether it's a toy, they're trying to sell you something. I just got finished watching Dan Larson's breakdown of Transformers, the movie, the original movie, on Toy Galaxy. Also check out Dan Larson on Toy Galaxy 2 and streaming on Twitch. Love that guy.
Okay.
But he really broke down Hasbro got full of themselves when they created Transformers the movie because their goal was to sell new toys. So they decided to kill Optimus Prime, and it backfired on them. It backfired on them so much they lost money on the movie. They changed the storyline for G.I. Joe the movie because they were going to kill Duke, and they decided to put him in a coma. It irrevocably changed how they viewed.
And you're talking about not the live actions, if you're talking about like the original cartoons.
Just the original cartoons.
Right.
Disney understands they want to make money. Kevin Feige understands in order to make this money, you have to make people care about these characters before you just kill them off.
Sure.
They didn't kill off Iron Man for 10 years.
Right.
It took him and part of that was he wanted to do other things. The character's story was over. Whose death meant more? Robert Downey Jr.'s or Scarlett Johansson's?
What point are you
Which death meant more to you? Which one affected you more?
Probably Iron Man.
Okay. That was, in my mind, that was done on purpose. So as you take these properties and you build them up, you have to first build in that loyal audience before you kick the knees out from under them and take that person away. I think Feige and Marvel understands that. So what they're doing now is sowing the seeds of here's this person, here's this person, here's this person, before they build to a huge mega event like the Avengers.
Do you think they have too many things going for people to keep up with?
I think for some people it is daunting. We talked about Naja, one of our young producers upstairs. Naja's like, I didn't get in on the ground floor, so I'm out. We have another younger person, Grace, same way. You've seen Grace on the channel. She's the anime fan. Grace is a perfect example. She's not trying to get into the MCU. Her bread and butter is anime. But those people who were 10 and 12 years old, who started with Iron Man, who are now 20, oh, they got them. They've got this is their Star Wars.
Sure.
This is everything to them.
We talk about Star Wars being like a space opera and a saga, but like MCU has definitely built its own saga.
No one has done what the MCU has done.
Yeah.
And I say that because no one has done it to the degree. People have had shared universe. Star Trek has done it to a certain extent, but they have not done it on the level that the MCU has done.
Sure.
In order to get to this, and I think it was D. Steezel brought up, this is what they're building towards.
What is that in front? I don't know what that is.
Wolverine.
Oh, Wolverine.
Yeah.
That's what the camera is. There we go.
This is what they built. They used all of this and this and this to get here. Because now that's the goal. The goal, they did not own their Fox characters, so they had to use their Avengers characters. They're building towards the X-Men, mutants, Fantastic Four, Galactus.
And we've said this before. As somebody who, I read comics, growing up, but not like you. I don't know it as well as you do. So I didn't know who was A tier and who was B tier. So for me, when MCU came out, I thought Iron Man and Captain America and Hulk, and I'm sure like the majority of people, I thought these were the main characters. I didn't realize X-Men was at the top.
X-Men have,
but MCU did such a good job of making you realize, hey, maybe the Avengers.
The MCU did such a good job. You don't even remember all the X-Men came out first.
Yeah, people don't only think about those X-Men movies.
But you know who they do remember? They remember Blade.
Yeah,
and Marvel was smart because I guarantee you one of these 4 movies coming up is Blade.
Yeah.
So that's what I think right now they're building towards. We saw the Hawkeye trailer. My biggest problem... Go ahead.
Shout out Ken from Chicago for... I'm seeing people in the chat. He's talking about Person of Interest. Anybody who watches this chat or watches our show knows I love Person of Interest. I think it was one of the best shows on CBS had for 5 seasons. Fantastic. That's it. I just want to say that.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Ken from Chicago brings up Spider-Man was at the top commercially over the long haul because Spider-Man was Marvel's most recognizable character. As far as commercial success, as far as kids knowing Spider-Man for Marvel, I would say
there's like a child Spider-Man show now with like kids that are like maybe like 4 or 5 years old. It's like a 4 or 5 year old version of Peter Parker, Gwen Stacy, and Miles Morales. I saw it this morning. I was like
blown away.
Yeah, it's like
and
man. It's on Disney, so I mean, Disney said, "Hey, we'll put Spider-Man everywhere."
Excuse me, and that's the goal. I think what's going on right now is they're following. A lot of people think, "Oh, they're going to start with these comics." No, what they're going to do is they're going to take bits and pieces because right now they're using Matt Fraction's Hawkeye for this show. They're bringing in Kate Bishop. They're building these young Avengers legacy characters because. Here's the thing, which a lot of people don't realize. And I say this as someone who's read comics. One of my favorite characters is Captain America. As far as like the way he was written, the way he carried himself. I love the buddy adventures of Captain America, Falcon, and then when they brought in the Winter Soldier, and that little family has always been dear to me. However, there's a generation of people who have not seen themselves on film and seen a straight white guy running around with a shield. Yeah, that's great. But who for that little black girl, that little Chinese boy, these different groups of people who have never seen themselves on screen.
Sure.
The Young Avengers, the mutants, brings that to the forefront.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a world recognized property, you have to do movies like Shang-Chi. Sure. You have to do a Blade. You have to show that Captain America can be a black man. And that's what Marvel is trying to do because a lot of people got mad. And I say this as a comic fan. And we've talked about this before. Why do they keep pushing Miss Marvel on us? Why do they keep pushing Squirrel Girl? Because Scholastic sells out of those books.
Right. I was really excited for that Squirrel Girl show that they were going to do.
With the girl from the AT&T commercials?
Yeah.
I saw a picture of her.
Yeah, it was. I was like that. I would have watched that show.
Yeah.
Sad it's not. Maybe it'll get picked back up.
She looked like Squirrel Girl.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a good job. I think it would have been cool.
So when you have these characters going forward, a lot of people are like, why? So if you follow comics and you follow comic prices, the first appearance of Riri Williams is through the roof right now. The first appearance of Shuri as Black Panther, try to buy that book right now, graded at a 9.8. Hope you got your credit card. Hope you don't plan to pay rent tomorrow, because you will pay for it.
Right.
Because comic people are scalping on it, but there are people, and I want to say this, but I can't. Comedians have said it, and so I'll say a different version. Black people got money now.
Sure.
So people got
not just black people, but minorities overall. People
just
of color.
People got money. So you don't think LeBron James is checking out the fact that there is Miles Morales Spider-Man and buying the first appearance of Miles Morales because he got the loot to buy it. So what I'm saying is, you have a whole generation of people who grew up on just comics alone, who are now able to take their children and say, I read Black Panther as a child. You get to be Black Panther.
Right.
I don't think people understand how big of a deal that is. Marvel does. Marvel is like, we are going to give you the first Muslim female superhero. In my wildest dreams, I never thought I'd say that, much less have a show or platform to say it.
Right.
Marvel recognizes that's money to be made. Ike Perlmutter did not realize that. He screwed the pooch on a lot of stuff. Wonder Woman was a good movie. Arguably the third act falls apart. How much money did that make? There are little girls running around right now punching dudes in the face because they saw Wonder Woman do it.
I hope not.
I mean, if I was a girl, I would have. I wouldn't punch dudes in the face. I saw Wonder Woman. I
hope there's a reason that you punch them. Hope you're not just sucker punching people. That's just wild.
I want to put on a little...
Would that fit your head?
I have a little head, man. Anything fits it.
All right.
I really wanted to put on a Wonder Woman. I got the cuff somewhere around here. I wanted to punch dudes in the face. So that means something. And Marvel has figured it out. And they're looking to build this franchise so everyone can enjoy it.
Sure.
And that's what they're doing. They're just going about it a little differently.
So, when do you think we're going to get another Avengers movie?
Not for a while.
Like 2026?
I think we're going to get another Avengers movie just for them to tear it down.
Okay.
I think we're in for a world of hurt.
Because you think it's going to be Avengers Disassembled, possibly.
I think so. I think one of the storylines, and that's just me, I think one of the storylines they're building up to is build up a nice Avengers team of different Avengers, Sam Wilson, Captain Marvel, and I think we're in for a world of hurt because I think some of those characters are not going to make it. And eventually they're going to have to remap this entire thing.
We didn't talk about, but one person that we've seen on a TV show and we think we're going to see in a movie, Kang the Conqueror.
Yes.
Or at least a version of Kang the Conqueror. Do we think that's going to be the next big bad that
I think that's one of them.
I
think that's one of them. Okay. I think that's one of them who will open the door for maybe a worse individual to step through.
Ken from Chicago said Leroy has handcuffs and a tiara.
I do. I got the handcuffs someplace in here. I don't know where they at. I got it when we went to see Wonder Woman. They were giving them out, and they were like, "You want these?" I was like, "Yeah, give me my stuff. It's free."
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I saw Wonder Woman. I wanted a little girl. Like I was like, I like when she, man. A lot of y'all don't like '84, and I understand it's not a great movie. But that opening of Wonder Woman 1984.
Oh, with the younger version of her.
Oh,
yeah.
Loved every second of it.
Sure.
When she cut and cheated, and she was mad, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to have that conversation. Because my kid go cheat. I already know it.
Wow. All right. Great. Anything else?
Rayshawn K brings it up. Give me Dr. Doom and Galactus. That's what they're building to. They're building to that. And in order to get you there, to make Galactus real, to make Doom real, the way we felt Thanos, you have to slow roll and give people someone to care about to fight that.
Sure.
And in order for you to do that, you have to start small and introduce these characters that they're not really familiar with, because they're going to play off each other. To understand how big of a deal Miss Captain Marvel is bringing in Miss Marvel so that you can see the idolation through her eyes of what this woman, who was a pivotal character for this person, to understand. And that's why I said Iron Man's death meant so much to people, because we're going to get Riri, who's going to follow. The only reason why Riri exists is because she saw what Tony Stark did and wanted to be like Tony Stark.
Right.
She was a genius. She wanted to use her powers for her education for good. We're going to get to see that. And so we're going to get to see these legacy characters. And that's what a lot of these people don't understand. You may not identify with Riri.
DC's brought up, you got to interview DC's animated Wonder Woman.
Don't.
Yeah.
My wife got mad about that too. I posted a picture of Wonder Woman on Twitter or something, and she was like, she had eyes. I was like, baby, I love you, but this was my first love. But no, in order to get there, yes, we all love the Fantastic Four, but there are people who love Devil Dinosaur, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur just as much.
Yeah.
And their love of that character is should no way be cheapened or not explored as some of the same people who love the Fantastic Four.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Get some of these comments.
Get some of these comments. What do you mean? Get some of these comments?
Jim Hawkins says, I think King the Conqueror will do something and will make the Watcher interfere, since King is so multi-timeline threat from right now. Like you said, I think King is setting up to be that person who he told them, there are worse things out there than me. And you opening this door is opening to the Annihilation Wave, Galactus. If you've read Marvel Comics, you know there are worse threats out there.
Do you think, and this is actually a question for the audience as well, for the people that are watching What If, do you think that this is all going to wrap up in this season and there's going to be some type of overarching plot, or are these all just one-offs?
I don't know. I know that there's been talk of some of these characters may come to live action. I know Captain Carter is one of the ones that a lot of people have been speculating could make that jump, and people want to see that. It would be very easy to do a darker Doctor Strange, and what would be interesting is Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Would we see that version of Doctor Strange with the other Doctor Strange? I don't know. I know that, again, until I see them flounder, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I mean, they made us care about a talking tree.
They did. G. Stiesel says, still haven't seen Adam Warlock, Eternity, or The Living Tribunal.
Nope. And I mean, and we're going. So we know we're going to get a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, Guardians 3. We know we're going to get a Secret Invasion. So there's a lot of characters we have not seen going forward. Marvel has not shown any capacity or saying we're not going to fund this.
Sure.
I could literally see, and for those of you who have read comics, Ryan Porter brings it up, we need a rebooted Apocalypse. I will throw this out there. Marvel has enough money to give us Age of Apocalypse. Maybe not the entire... I could see Marvel saying, you know what? Watch this. And just throwing money and saying, wipe the slate clean. The characters will come back eventually. Here's Age of Apocalypse. I don't know. It's just...
And for those of us who don't know, what is Age of Apocalypse?
Charles Xavier dies and Magneto has to train the X-Men and Apocalypse takes over.
Okay. All right. Cool.
It's not good.
I mean, it doesn't sound like it would be.
Wolverine loses a hand. Cyclops loses an eye. It ain't good. There's a character called Holocaust who has his literal skin ripped off of him. He's Apocalypse's son. He has to be contained in a suit. Yeah, Magneto's not a good stand-in for Charles Xavier.
Yeah.
Oh, and Xavier's killed by a time-traveling, schizophrenic son of his named Legion.
Okay. Cool. That's it?
Yeah, so we're going to try to do a Shang-Chi review.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually we're going to get around to What If, and what's the other one?
Lower Deck Season 2?
There you go.
Yeah.
But
what got you through the week? Warframe?
Grey's Anatomy, y'all.
Oh, okay, Grey's Anatomy. There we go. That's what's up. I'm still doing my rewatch of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Who's your favorite character?
Probably Charlie.
Really?
Yeah, Charlie's fun. And I like the fact that I can't think of the guy's actual name now.
Charlie?
Yeah, is it Charlie?
Yeah, his real name is Charlie Day.
Charlie Day, yeah. I like the fact that
I was like, what, is this a trick question?
Yeah, I couldn't think. Yeah. I like the fact that outside of the universe, he's like very talented. Just in musical and stuff. Mm-hmm. Be able to play a bunch of.
That's what's so funny because he plays. For me, it's Danny DeVito.
Frank is cool.
Danny DeVito is a trip. Yeah. My favorite meme. So anyway, I just started blasting.
Yeah.
Oh, when he was in the couch. Have you gotten to that one yet?
Yes. Oh, well, we're supposed to discuss the Matrix vs. Spider-Man discussion?
Well, that was a question. I put it on as the community question. Y'all throw out questions if you want me, because that came from y'all. I don't remember exactly who it was, but that was, to me, was a good question only because a lot of people are sleeping on these Matrix fans, man. I know a lot of people who are like, they're not really into the MCU. Mm-hmm. But you talk about Neo's coming back?
That's their own superhero.
That's what they're waiting on.
I mean, the trailer looks great. I don't know what's happening, and it's like, yep.
You think so?
I'm interested in it.
I'm not.
Really?
I'm interested in the Matrix. I could have done without that trailer.
I like the trailer. I like Keanu Reeves still looking great. Carrie-Anne Moss still looking great.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Maybe we got a young Morpheus or something. I don't know.
The 90s original Matrix trailer to me still blows that one out of the water.
I mean, maybe it does. I'm not saying it's the best trailer. I'm just saying I enjoyed it.
Really? Yeah. I did not.
Yeah.
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 But the future of the MCU is strong. I don't know what the union has in store for us. 2022 is coming up quickly. Mm-hmm. So I just say buckle up, because I think we're in for a wild ride, especially when they bring in these mutants and Fantastic Four.
Cool.
Marvel's first family.
Mm-hmm.
Whew.
All right, that's it for us. Y'all can find us here. Hopefully, for the people who came in late or coming back, yes, I am back. Thank you, Rich Odell, for letting me come into the building to shoot this with you on Friday nights.
Yep.
My schedule has allowed me to be off on Friday, so we should be doing this for at least 4 months until the football season's over. NFL season's over, and then we'll figure out what we're doing from there. But yeah, that's it for us. We out. Deuces. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends. We'll be here hopefully every Friday around this. Like I said, for 4 months. Hopefully every Friday for at least 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah. And then next week we find out we won't be here. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is.
I'm trying to get the mouse to end the stream.
I don't know where your thing's at.
I don't know either. Do you see it?
I don't.
Oh.
Is it not on?
The mouse is dying. There he is.
Okay.
See, he's trying.
Okay.
He's trying. Come on, mouse.
This is fun.
Come on, mouse. Do you see him?
I'm just gonna go over here. I thought you were gonna be able to handle it.
I can't. The mouse is dead. I'm sorry, mouse.
There we go.
I'm sorry, Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, I didn't know that's what you called it.
Well, that was one of the mice in Grey's Anatomy.